When hatred hides, someone close to you secretly hates you, Part 1. Have you ever felt a strange presence, even next to someone who smiles at you? A silent discomfort that doesn't come from logic, but from instinct. A restlessness that sets in without warning, as if something in that person was misaligned. They say they support you. They act as if they care, but something doesn't match the look in their eyes, the silence, the subtle gestures. Carl Jung called this the shadow. It's not a visible enemy. It's not a spirit. It's the unconscious part of the psyche, where we bury everything we cannot admit we feel. Anger, envy, competition, the need for control. And the most corrosive of all, hatred disguised as affection. This video is an invitation to lucidity. We're going to explore 9 signs that someone close to you may be harboring hostile feelings, even if they smile, even if they say they love you, even if they are not fully aware of it. They don't yell. They don't attack you. On praise laced with poison. Some attacks don't come in the form of insults. They come disguised as compliments. Sentences like, "You got that position? Wow, I didn't think that was your style." Or "Congrats, I could never manage a relationship as open as yours." It sounds like admiration, but it hides contempt. It's the kind of compliment that leaves you confused. You feel like you should feel good, but you don't. Jung said we project onto others what we cannot bear to see in ourselves. That poison compliment is polished hatred, envy wrapped as kindness. It's a shadow trying to remain socially acceptable while exuding hostility between the lines. 2. Silence in your moments of victory. You finally did it, finished that project, got a promotion, achieved something that took effort, pain, and persistence. And the response from the person close to you is silence, or an abrupt change of subject, or a forced smile with no light in their eyes. It's not that they don't care. It's that your victory triggers an old wound, something they themselves couldn't accomplish. Jung said that another's success can be a cruel mirror. It not only reflects, it confronts, and when the shadow is activated, the other person goes silent, pulls away, or makes you feel like you're wrong for winning. 3. Help that sabotages. You ask for advice. The person seems eager to help. They offer guidance, opinions, direction. But strangely, the decisions you make based on their advice hold you back. The information they forget to give you harms you. The support they offer somehow prevents real progress. It's sabotage, subtle, silent, and constant. It doesn't seem malicious, but the result is the same. Jung said those who can't accept their own limitations try to control them in others. The shadow hides behind a mask of care, but it's really trying to keep you small, so it doesn't feel inferior. 4. The invisible competition. Some people can't celebrate your happiness because deep down they see you as a threat. Everything becomes a silent battleground. You mention a book you read, they've read too. You talk about an achievement, they've had a bigger one. You share a pain, they've suffered more. But it's not just comparison. It's a veiled struggle for emotional superiority. That person's shadow needs to win, even when no one's playing. Jung warned that a fragile ego constantly seeks reaffirmation, and competition, even silent, serves as an anesthetic for insecurity. But this dynamic, when ongoing, doesn't just wear you out. It distorts your sense of self. You start doubting your joy, your pain, your accomplishments. And without realizing it, you find yourself trying to prove something. That will never be enough for them. 5. The presence that drains. Some people don't say anything wrong. They don't attack you, belittle you, or raise their voice. But being around them exhausts you, drains you, as if the air around gets heavier. You feel the silent gaze of judgment, the non-verbal comparisons. You feel like you have to justify yourself, even when there's no explicit demand. This is one of the most insidious effects of the shadow. It doesn't act with words, but with presence. Jung called this unconscious transference. The other person's shadow connects with yours, and even without saying anything, the environment becomes contaminated. It's like walking into a space where the air is thick, but no one sees what's happening. You just feel it, and you leave, more drained than when you entered. 6. Overemphasis on your flaws. No one is perfect. We all have flaws, wounds, contradictions, but someone who secretly resents you will make sure you're always aware of yours. They don't correct you to help. They correct to diminish. They highlight your weaknesses in public. They remind you of your failures, and every step forward you take comes with a comment that brings you 2 steps back. You've changed, but not that much. Just be careful not to ruin it like last time. Don't get your hopes up too high. You know how that ends. It sounds like caution, but it tastes like sabotage. Jung pointed out that projecting inferiority is a way to anesthetize one's own self-hate. By making your flaws the focus, the other person avoids facing their own. And little by little you stop believing in your potential. You internalize their gaze, and their shadow becomes yours. Unconditional support. There are people who are only there for you, as long as you remain beneath them. They cheer you on, but only when you're struggling. They listen, but only when you're suffering. The moment you start to rise, to grow, to feel proud of yourself, their tone shifts. The support dries up. The bond starts to crack. That's because their identity is built on your fragility. Jung wrote that many relationships are not truly about love, but about compensation. They need you to need them, because your independence threatens their control. When support is conditional, it's not support. It's manipulation, carefully packaged in affection, but deeply rooted in insecurity. 8. Rewriting history. One of the most dangerous signs of hidden hostility is when the person begins to distort your past. They remember things differently. They tell others versions of events that never happened. They downplay your pain, exaggerate your mistakes, and retell your life story in a way that benefits them. It's not always conscious, but it is always cruel. Jung saw memory as something malleable, shaped by emotion, ego, and trauma. When someone feels threatened by your truth, they'll reconstruct it, edit it, diminish it. Suddenly, the person who hurt you becomes the victim, and your testimony becomes exaggeration. You begin to doubt yourself, question your own memories, and in that confusion, they gain control. It's not just manipulation, it's identity theft. The shadow has rewritten your narrative. 9. They mirror what you hide. Perhaps the most painful sign, this person brings out in you the very things you don't want to see in yourself. You feel envy around them, even if you're not envious by nature. You become reactive, defensive, petty. You turn into someone you don't recognize, someone you don't like. That's not a coincidence. Jung believed that the people we attract, and are attracted to, often reflect the very parts of us we haven't integrated. The shadow calls to shadow. And sometimes that enemy who drains you is only revealing the war already inside you. That person may hate you, but what if their presence only triggers the self-hatred you've buried? The shame you never faced, the bitterness you never spoke aloud. Some enemies don't destroy you, they reveal you. So what do you do when the hatred is hidden? You don't always have the luxury of proof. These people may smile at you, support you in public, speak kindly, while planting slow, invisible poison beneath your skin. And if you're not careful, you'll absorb that poison. You'll normalize being doubted, being minimized, being manipulated with a smile. But the truth is, awareness is your sword. You don't need to fight fire with fire. You don't need to expose them to the world. You just need to see clearly enough to stop shrinking for people who secretly resent your growth. Not everyone deserves a front-row seat in your life. Not every critic deserves an explanation. Not every bond deserves to survive. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That resentment you feel when they talk to you, that tension in your chest when you see their name, that subtle, constant doubt they plant in you, it's not fate. It's not your intuition lying. It's your soul trying to speak. Listen to it. Because those who secretly hate you won't say it directly, but they will show it in how they treat your light. And your job is not to dim it. Your job is to protect it, honor it, sharpen it until it blinds the ones who tried to keep you small. Let them talk, let them twist the story, let them walk away. But never, ever, let them win by turning you into a version of yourself that's afraid to shine. You owe yourself more. If this video spoke to something inside you, if you recognized someone, or even recognized yourself, let it out in the comments. Share your story. No filters, no shame. This space was made for truth. And if you want more content like this, reflections that go deeper than the surface, psychology with real shadows, and truths most people are afraid to say, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and most importantly, stay awake. Because sometimes the greatest danger isn't who hates you out loud, it's the one who does it silently.